Hey y'all, it's Heather here from Tomatoes, Puppies, and Everything Gardening. I am so glad you're here. I thought before I pack away 2025, I would go through my camera roll, look at all that was accomplished, harvested, and grown in 2025 before I set off on the new year. Last year seemed to be a really tough year for me in the garden, and I felt like I didn't accomplish much. But when I kind of put all these pictures together, I'm really able to give myself more grace in everything that I did do last year. Often I feel two steps forward, one step back in the garden kind of mentality. But when I sit down and I look at these pictures, I'm really actually amazed at what I was able to accomplish. And the whole year, I felt so far behind, like I was just barely keeping up. These moments in time captured with the photography reminds me that I did a lot of experiments too, like the snail rolls. That was a great addition to my seed starting routine that I'm going to use from here on out. Very helpful. So many different experiments that I did and new ways to try and to grow. And every year, I think I just keep adding to this wealth of knowledge of what works for me in my location. The garden will definitely teach you lessons if you allow it. And if you have all or nothing mentality, which I have struggled with that for a very long time, I've gotten so much better about it. And the garden has definitely been my guide in that because you cannot control everything. You cannot control the weather or the pest or the vermin tunneling under your roots. So it definitely, looking at these pictures, reflecting back, I did make it through all of those challenges. And I have the garden to thank for teaching me and letting me be open to just giving in to the season, the weather, the moment, and doing the best that I can. I see the garden as a great metaphor. And as we transition through seasons, there's so much change. But at the same time, there is also this continuous pattern and almost a routine as to how and when and why you're doing certain things in the garden. So for me, I find great peace in that as I am part of that cycle within my garden. It's just a beautiful process, and I definitely need to have gardening in my life for this therapeutic benefit that it has offered. Growing food and flowers has been in the peripheral of my lifetime where I have been exposed to it, I've been around it, but it's only in the last, I'd say, 6+ years that it has become a daily focus for me, an obsessive kind of outlet where I am actively in the garden, I'm actively planning, I'm strategizing. It's become a way of life for me. Gardening has. Whereas, say 20 years ago, I might have had a flower garden or two out, in my flower beds. I might have planned and grown things, but it wasn't really with an intent. But in this last 6-ish years, it has been very intentional, almost a form of an obsessive hobby. I don't even want to use the word hobby because it's more, I think it's a deeper level than just a hobby. But definitely obsessive can be a word to describe my relationship with gardening at this point until recently in this past year. So 2025 was a rough year for me for different reasons. But one physical reason that kept me out of the garden during the summer, I had a yellow jacket attack twice. So the first time I was stung at least 20 to 25 times. And then a day and a half later, they came after me again. So I actually had a fear of my garden this whole summer. And it was difficult to get back in there. I think I'm going to be okay now. I slowly worked my way back into the garden. But yes, I think that fear will always be there now because I was just out there watering. That was it. I was just watering my garden, and the first time I got attacked. So there are things that will come along that you have to work through or change Eventually as I get older, I may have to make my garden smaller. Change is a key word with gardening for me in my mind. So, yeah, there may be times where I'm going to have to change the amount of gardening I do. There may be times where I can increase it as well. We may move soon and I may be able to grow, a whole giant field of corn. We just don't know what's coming ahead. And that is one cool thing about the garden is that it surprises you, it changes you, it lets you be open to different concepts and ideas and ways of doing things. And it gives back. It feeds you. It provides harvest, and that can be a blessing. And sometimes it's also that curse of abundance, and that can be really difficult in the summer when you've got peppers piling up on your counter and tomatoes. And I know that sounds like such a beautiful, wonderful thing, and it is, and it's awesome. I love it. It's delicious. But there are moments when I have struggled with what do I do with all of these peppers? Or, I went out and I picked a whole bag of jalapenos and I didn't have the time to cook them or process them, and then they start to go bad. So, yeah, there's that too, the question of abundance. But I think out of all the problems that we could have with our gardens, that is kind of one of those blessing problems, sort of. It depends on how you look at it in the moment you look at it. But despite my lack of gardening physically, being out there like I normally would have been in years past, my garden still gave us so much this summer. My peppers, my tomatoes really did quite well. And I couldn't have asked for them to do any better. My husband actually asked me not to grow as many peppers next year, which I don't know. I think I like them. I have a whole huge couple bags of frozen peppers in my freezer, and I like that feeling. Now, I did not preserve any tomatoes this year, but we ate tomatoes nonstop. I'm kind of sad that I don't have any. They're all gone now at this point. But I'm looking forward to 2026. So now that I've had this reflective view of how things went in 2025, now I'm so anxious to get back out there. I'm ready to pick out what I'm going to grow, what peppers, what tomatoes. And after that 6+ years of growing intently and a lot, I've tried so many different varieties at this point of tomatoes. I feel like I have kind of like a favorite list. I may just grow my favorites one year, or I may do more experiments. I really love the dwarf tomatoes that don't get too tall. But I think what I will have to do, one challenge I had in 2025 was got root knot nematodes for the very first time in my tomatoes. So I probably will have to try some nematode resistant varieties this summer. That is going to have to be a given. All right, guys. Well, talk to you soon. Hope you're having a wonderful week.